How many? How many? How many? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. What did I get up to?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of How Many, the only podcast on the internet that counts. I am one of your hosts, Jesse Jackson. Joining me today is, go ahead around the horn, guys.
Scott.
Junior.
Bob.
Gary.
Gary has a topic for us this time. So, Gary, talk to us. What are we talking about tonight?
Okay, so we've talked a lot about this too over the last couple of days of how exactly to view what it is that we're about to look at. So what I have is I have a list of all of the people that have been the actors, the players on Saturday Night Live.
It's Saturday Night Live! Ladies and gentlemen,
Gary Grant.
And the question is, how many of these people were hits on both Saturday Night Live and then outside of Saturday Night Live? So there's a lot of people that were really good. They were big players on Saturday Night Live, but their film careers flopped. There have been a couple that were big-time film actors that were on SNL, even if it was just briefly, and were very bad. So we're looking for the number of them that were both.
Nice. Now, do we have a total number of cast members that
Yes.
we're going to discuss? Okay.
So the sheet that I've got, I went through it. It's 157 people. I'll tell you that there are 3 more, including Catherine O'Hara, that were hired and never actually appeared. We're not going to talk about them, obviously, but because they wouldn't count. But so there's 157 to go through. I think our saving grace is that there's quite a few where everybody on here is going to go, who, and we'll just move on.
Exactly. I think so.
Now, just a point of clarification. Does it have to be TV and movie? So, like, for example, if somebody was on Saturday Night Live and then ended up doing well on a different TV show, because there's one in particular I'm thinking about that did that, or does it have to be TV to movie?
Now, I mean, and this, the group can correct this if they think I'm wrong. The way I was looking at it is they were a star on SNL and they were a star outside of SNL. So it wouldn't matter. Movies, TV, became an opera singer. I don't care, whatever.
So, like, I would make the argument Phil Hartman was successful on Saturday Night Live and then with news radio and TV
And The
shows.
Simpsons.
Yeah, that would
good
be.
point.
So, yeah, okay.
So that would be one that would count because, but it wasn't movies.
And like Robert Downey Jr. was not necessarily a great cast member on Saturday Night Live, but certainly. I'll start. I am going to say just 50.
I'm going to go 37.
I'll go 42.
I think you guys are overselling a little bit. I'm going to go 25.
Did you have a guess before you would have started looking at it, Gary?
I'll tell you this. I didn't even look at the list, but I've seen enough of it to know that I can't do a legit guess.
Okay.
But I'm going to say that there were people on here that I had forgotten about that were on SNL. And I'm going to say that some of the bigger numbers are probably close.
Okay.
If I were guessing, I probably would have guessed in the mid-30s to the early 40s, which is right around where Scott and Bob were.
Okay.
I don't know if I would have gotten to 50 like you did. That's 1 in 3, and I think that's probably aggressive.
And that probably is. All right, very good.
Starting off with Fred Armisen. I think everybody knows who Fred Armisen is from SNL for sure. He's definitely been on some other stuff. But I'm going to leave it to you guys to talk about whether or not that's
Portlandia.
Yeah, I was going to say Portlandia. I think that. Yeah, I think that counts.
He didn't really have a movie, like a really big movie career, but I think Portlandia was
he
a
has
big
some
enough
funny
TV
stuff in the
series.
movies, though. He's a great bit character. Like his Italian character on Eurotrip was massive shank laugh.
And
but he's in the movie for 10 minutes.
If I remember, in Portlandia, one of me did the Battlestar Galactica binge episode, and that alone, he gets my vote for that. I knew immediately who he was, and I could name Portlandia. That gives it a yes for me.
Yeah,
Okay.
I give him a yes because pretty much everything I've seen him in, outside of SNL, I thought he was really, really good. I don't think he's like the big leading character kind of guy, but he's somebody that can definitely fill out, a show. Freaking funny.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so we're counting Fred Armisen. Next up, I think this is going to be around the horn, right? Nice and easy. Dan Aykroyd.
Yes.
Yeah.
First
Yes.
ballot.
Yes.
First ballot, Hall of Fame. Yeah.
All right. This one might get a little bit more difficult. Peter Aykroyd.
His brother was on SNL.
Really?
I would
That's
say,
no.
1980, one season.
yeah, I would say no. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Never heard of
Yeah.
him.
I mean, he wouldn't have even counted if he was
I-
a big star on SNL.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
best one really was Cooper Aykroyd.
Yes.
He was the one that really
Cooper was
did.
the one. If only he had not gotten injured.
Okay, next up is Morwenna Banks.
Not familiar.
No.
Nothing.
Gotcha.
Got nothing.
All right, Vanessa Bayer.
She's
Very
the
funny. Very funny.
the
on
redhead,
show.
right?
Yes, very funny on the show. I don't think she's going to.
Yeah, she hasn't done enough outside of SNL.
This one's one that you guys might be able to debate a little bit. Jim Belushi.
Yeah.
So I was wondering
Jim.
if he was going to come up because there's been some movies that I really like Jim Belushi in.
Mr. Destiny was a good one.
Yeah, Mr. Destiny was really good. But I think he's in the shadow of his brother, right? So that's a little
Yes.
tougher.
And
I like
briefly
him
on
in that-
SNL. He
I
was
liked him
only
in
on
that
SNL
Principal
for 2
movie.
years.
I like him. I would give him a yeah because I think he's a solid guy.
Yeah, I don't know if he was good in Saturday Night Live, but I certainly think he's had a decent enough career. I would say yes.
I mean, he had his own sitcom, and it lasted a long time. Whether it was good or
Right.
not,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Kind of
and
beside the
I
point.
wouldn't, I can't, I'm not going to argue the outside of SNL at all because I think he's had a fine career. It's that he was only on SNL for 2 seasons and
Can't remember him on
and
SNL.
his brother died, right before he joined or right when he was anyway. So it was 83 to 85 when he was on.
So I think that's a good debate, Gary, that I'm thinking of his post-SLO career,
Yeah.
giving him in there. But if I can't think of one character he played or one skit he's in Saturday Night Live, is that necessarily, should he count?
I think
That's
that's
my
why
point.
we would exclude him because
Right.
he
That's
wasn't
the
good
thing
enough
is
on
that
SNL.
has to be both because
Yeah.
we're going to run into some other people on this list that are giant stars that were nothing on SNL.
Yeah.
And according to what I said earlier, parameter wise, they wouldn't read.
Good point.
That's an interesting idea, though, is that, SNL probably gave them the springboard. They went on there, didn't
Yeah.
do a whole lot, but got their face out there. And then when they got off of SNL, they were successsul
Well, his brother probably gave him the springboard.
Well, yeah, he did. I mean,
But-
that's for sure.
But he was in a lawyer show too that was set in Vegas that only lasted 1 season. I remember really liking him in that.
My
It
niece
was more
was
of
on
a
that
dramatic role. Yeah, good stuff.
show. So my niece was on that show.
So obviously the next one is going to be John Belushi. And
What a day for John Belushi! I logged a lot of miles training for that day, and I downed a lot of donuts. Little chocolate donuts. They taste good, and they've got the sugar I need to get me going in the morning. That's why little chocolate donuts have been on my training table since I was a kid.
Yes.
assuming that we have no
Yeah,
issues
that's-
there.
Yeah, I mean, too shorter a career, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, absolutely somebody amazing.
Yeah, it's funny. He was only on SNL 4 years.
Right.
It's not hard to think of a bit that he was in. Beck Bennett.
Not familiar.
he's on the current cast.
He is, and he's been there since 2013. So solid, I think, from an SNL perspective, but no idea who they are. So, all right, I think this one's going to be a good one to debate, and it falls along the lines of what Junior was asking earlier. So Jim Brewer
Goat Boy.
did a lot of funny characters on SNL, including Goat Boy. Hasn't
He-
done a lot of movies, although Half Baked was very good.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the only thing I
But
remember him from
But-
movie-wise.
very, very successful as a stand-up comic.
In his movies, he's a good support guy. He really is. I mean, he plays his role, I think, very well. Even trying to think of a single movie that he was in or something else. I know I've seen him and I've like enjoyed it, but
Yeah, I would
Well,
give
like
it a
I
thumbs
said,
down.
As in Half Baked, he was a major character, and that, at least as a cult classic, is huge.
I haven't seen that in forever though.
And he was a huge part of it. I'm a big fan of that. He's been in a bunch of other movies and TV shows.
Does he do voice
um,
work?
Yeah, he does some voice work. He's been on Family Guy.
He was
But-
in Zookeeper. He was one of the animals,
Yes,
which
that's right. That's what it
Jubb
was.
thought was going to be a game changer.
Yes.
Yeah, played Father Philip on Kevin Can Wait. He's actually got a pretty decent IMDb page, but there's nothing that stands out. I'm going to vote no.
Yeah,
So
I'm
we
giving
got-
it a thumbs down.
We got 2 no's.
Close. It's tough. I mean, he was somewhat successful on SNL, and he's had some success off SNL in movies, but wasn't huge on either. I want to say no.
I know who he is.
Okay.
Honestly, I really wish somebody would have done no in the goat voice.
This is so great. Now, oh, need a little goat boy, maybe.
Like, I can't do it, but
No.
No.
that's what I was waiting on. Bob got
Nice.
close. Okay, next up, Paul Britton.
Paul in that's Bob Newhart's nephew.
Paul was on there for 2 years, and I don't know who he is. So.
Not
I don't know
familiar.
who he is either.
No, I'm going to.
Okay, so he's a no.
Yeah.
This one I definitely recognize, probably because she was on there when I was in high school. A. Whitney Brown.
I remember her, but I don't remember anything outside of that.
It's
I don't
him.
either.
It's him.
Yeah, and all I could first, I don't know what else he did, but I am a Whitney Brown. One day I hope to be the Whitney Brown is a joke that I remember always. I would say no. The boy, he is a good stand-up comedian. You talked a little bit about that earlier, right? One of you.
Has
Yeah.
he been in anything outside of there, though?
A little bit, but
He was mainly a writer when he was on there. He would come on and do like a little segment on Weekend Update periodically, but that's about it. He was never really on any of the sketches or anything.
And see, and I was kind of wondering about that.
And he did Weekend Update, right? You were saying,
He wasn't the anchor, but he would come on and do like a kind of like Colin Quinn would. Well, I guess he was
Like an editorial.
but yeah, he would kind of just do like a monologue kind of thing.
Now, so here's a little thing. He has been a writer for The Daily Show for 386 episodes, from 96 to 98. So he has a very long writing career. Looks like was a very successful
Yes.
writer, but I not as an actor. I don't think
Right.
so.
And I'll tell you that what I'm looking at here, because I agree with you, I don't think he counts. Probably, if for nothing else, is because he really wasn't big on SNL. So
Right.
he definitely doesn't qualify as a both.
Yeah.
But the list I'm looking at, we're talking purely what they call players or actors.
Yeah.
I have a different list that is for writers. And when I first was doing this, I had thought about doing both. And then I saw the writers list was over 270 names and thought
Jeez.
that's just way too many.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Okay, all right.
See, I'd be willing to bet that some of the people who were players
They're both.
have slipped back into being writers for other shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
They have their
They have.
success there, and you'd probably go, "Oh yeah, I know that show," or "I know that."
Because almost all of the players were writers. It's just not all the writers are players.
Right? Yeah.
But then a lot of them, because they don't ever find the niche as an actor, stick with the writing in other places.
Good.
Okay, next up, Aidy Bryant, AIDY Bryant. So
She's on the
Walker had a talk
current
with
cast,
him.
right?
Yeah,
Walker
and
had a talk with
she's
her.
got a show on Hulu now too.
she's all 80.
Yeah, I would say no. She hasn't been in enough stuff outside of SNL. She's kind of spare on SNL to begin with.
Yep,
Okay.
agreed. Next up, Beth Cahill, one season, early 90s.
Not familiar.
No.
Right.
No, she was spare.
I think we're going to hit some here. Dana Carvey.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Not a great film career, but certainly enough, a major in Saturday Night Live, and
Maybe top 5 SNL cast of all time.
yeah.
Top
Way up
5?
Huge.
Top 10 for sure.
Maybe top 10, but top
Yeah.
5, you're pushing.
I
it,
mean,
dude.
purely on SNL, not factoring in. The other
I know what you're saying. I heard what
Yeah,
you're saying.
I think that's an
Still
oversell.
think
I
they're
would.
full of crap.
I think he would be top 20.
That's an undersell.
She's chopping broccoli. Chopping broccoli. She's 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 chopping. She's chopping broccoli.
Okay. Well,
That's an interesting thought because when you throw almost all the original cast,
right. Which
you know,
Yeah.
which is
it's not
5 or
hard to
6.
say. It's not hard to say Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. You drop out of the top 5 real fast, dude.
Yeah.
Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy.
Right.
Definitely, I agree. Top 20.
Win, boy.
With 157, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't he Head Wound Harry?
Welcome once again to Massive Head Wound Harry.
Hey, great party. I'm sorry I'm late. I forgot where you lived.
Oh my God!
That's okay, Harry. I feel dizzy.
Massive head wound, Harry. Yes.
A massive head wound. That's right.
That was hilarious. That's probably my favorite sketch ever.
Next up is Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
First ballot.
Good evening. I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not. Our top story tonight, Generalissimo Francisco Franco is still dead.
Absolutely.
Obviously, unless you're a Community fan, and then you maybe you hate him.
Community.
I loved him in Community. I
I
care.
did too, but
just,
there were issues behind the scenes. Because
yes, absolutely. But he was great in Community.
He was great. Too bad it was just so screwed up in the background.
And I tell you what, I just watched The Last Movie Star, which was Burt Reynolds' last movie, and he has a small part in it, and he's really good in that.
Okay, next up, Michael Che.
Not
Cast
enough
member.
outside of SNL.
Nothing outside.
I agree.
Yeah,
Current
current
cast.
cast member, good cast member, nothing
Yes.
outside. Ellen Cleghorn, early 90s.
No,
she was pretty spare.
Yeah.
She had some pretty good characters on SNL, but okay. This one is very brief. We can just move on. George Coe.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, did nothing on there. But here's another one that would be very difficult to keep from being in the top 5 or top 10. Billy Crystal.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a yes.
Yeah. Definitely bigger star than he was on Saturday Night Live. But there is certainly things he did on Saturday Night Live that were pretty good.
Fernando.
You look marvelous.
He was specifically brought in because he was a huge star already. And they brought him in on a 1-season deal. They were trying to really save the show at that point. It was like 84.
Yes.
And it was him and Christopher Guest. And they were like, okay, you guys are kind of established, but we need ringers, basically. Martin Short was the other guy, yeah.
Right,
Was this the non-Lorne Michael years?
Yeah, yes. It was Ebersol. It was last year before Lorne Michaels came back.
All right, next up, big SNL star. We're gonna have to debate off SNL. Jane Curtin.
Okay, so I was gonna talk about this. She had a really successful sitcom with Susan St. James.
Kate Nally.
Kate Nally, really good sitcom. She's been
Third Rock from the Sun also.
Yeah, she did that. Yeah. And then the USA Network had the series of library kind of fantasy science fiction where Noah Wiley from ER kind of played this. He called the librarian. It was this kind of
Indiana Jones kind of character.
Yeah, character, and she played one of his. She played a character that was kind of boss.
His elder.
I think she's had a really long career. Really solid in Saturday Night Live. Had to play the straight woman so many times, but was brilliant at it. And Jane, you ignorant slut.
Jane, you ignorant slut.
I say yes, absolutely.
I give her a big thumbs up. Yeah, she hasn't been in these huge things, but she's had really solid success, and she's been really good in everything she was in.
One of the very first things she did after she left SNL was a movie called How to Beat the High Cost of Living.
I do remember that. It was a good movie.
I laughed so hard. I mean, I was just a kid, but it was so funny.
Yeah, the only movie I can remember her in was Coneheads, and she was just reprising a SNL skit to begin with. But she's had enough TV success outside of SNL that I would say yes.
Next up, this is going to be one where I think the off SNL is much bigger than on SNL. Joan Cusack.
Boy, I don't remember what she did on Saturday Night Live.
One season.
Yeah, she was the first season in '85 that Lorne Michaels was back when they had. I don't want to rattle off all the names because Gary's going to get to them, but there was a ton of people in that cast that you would know. But it was still kind of a failed season and a failed cast.
Yeah, it was a reach of a season.
Yeah, and boy, it hurts me because she's just so good in anything she does. I just love watching her. Not only she's Jessie in Toy Story, but she's played.
She was good in Homecoming. This
16
past season
Candles.
of Homecoming.
Yeah, and
but Gary, Would you say your favorite role of hers is it Shameless with William H. Macy and Bill?
Yeah, that's pretty good too.
And she played the romantic lead on My Blue Heaven with Rick Moranis, and she's so good in that. But I can't remember what she did in Saturday Night Live. I'm going to have to say no.
Agreed.
Yeah, I say no.
All right. This one will either be controversial or you're all just going to say no and we move on. Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson,
He guest starred in The Rookie, the new Nathan Fillion show, and he was really good at playing a loser on the show. I don't know anything else he's done.
Yeah.
well, he was King of Staten Island, the movie that just came out. Now, the movie's good, but I don't think wouldn't consider him to be successful yet outside of SNL.
Yeah.
And even in SNL, I can't really think of a lot of iconic skits that he's
That's
been a
actually
part
what I
of.
was going to say. It's funny, but I actually just watched a thing where they were talking about SNL and not specifically him. But when they talked about him, they said he's on the show, but he's very rarely on the show.
I think he's kind of more of a writer at this point.
He does a lot of the pre-recorded fake rap bits like Andy Samberg used to do.
I think they keep him around because they think at some point he's going to shine. He's going to pop out of this, but he just never really does. More trouble than he's worth sometimes.
Yeah, I've heard there's some behind-the-scenes stuff there. That's why he doesn't get into a lot of the skits. All right, Tom Davis. Anyone?
Franken and Davis, they were the big writers.
Yeah, exactly.
Mikey Day.
Not
Present
familiar.
day. Nothing.
Uh-uh.
All right, Denny Dillon.
Not familiar.
No.
I don't recognize that one. Jim Downey.
Not familiar.
Nope.
Robert's
Nope.
uncle, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he really related?
Well, then here's our first case of nepotism. Not our first case. Robert Downey Jr.
So I do not remember what he did in Saturday Night Live.
Right, very
So,
little. And this is what we talked about: people that were movie stars that were bad on SNL.
It's hard to put anything as a failure with Robert Downey Jr., but I would not put him on the list.
You know, but back then he had a lot of failure because there was a lot of drug use and a lot of problems. His stardom has come much later than would suggest because he started off.
Yeah, because he kind of redeemed himself with Ally McBeal. And then I remember part of the reason why him being cast in Iron Man is it was playing to the character, right? Like because he'd had Tony Stark was an alcoholic in the comics, and his redemption and this issues he really brought into it. He's been rich because playing Tony Stark and all the other roles he's done. So,
but not SNL.
Yeah, so
Exactly,
he's a thumbs down.
Yeah, I agree.
The first thing I remember him in is Weird Science, and
Yes,
I'm sure he was in SNL before that.
The same
Close.
year.
Yeah,
It was the same year.
Oh,
Was
really?
Back to School before
Back to
his
School
SNL?
was the year after Weird Science.
What about Johnny Be Good?
Oh, yeah. That was him and Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah.
That was 80.
right around-
That was 88. All right, so we said no to him though.
Yes.
Great movie star, not a big star on SNL.
Yeah.
All right, here's one that we can debate. Brian Doyle Murray.
I would say great in movies, great in everything that he touches outside of SNL. But another case of I don't remember the SNL time. And I wonder if it's just because maybe that was a dark period for me with SNL and I wasn't watching it as much.
Well, yeah, he was on there in the Dick Ebersol years, like 82, 83.
Okay.
He was Weekend Update anchor one
He
year.
was 80 to 82.
Yeah.
88.
So you're right. His off SNL career has been really long, and he's been in a million things, and you'd recognize him immediately. But he's almost never been the lead or anything close to it in anything. He's just a character actor. He's a really big, well-known, recognizable character actor.
And Bill Murray's brother, pretty much.
Yes.
What I think is interesting, and I'm going to vote no, is when I'm looking him up at IMDb, he actually was on 3 episodes of the Saturday Night Live with Howard Cosell.
Yes, the one that was on the first year of Saturday Night Live. They couldn't call it Saturday Night Live because of the Howard Cosell show.
Right.
And Bill Murray was also on the Howard Cosell show.
So it was, as they said, Cosell had the good name, not the show. So I think that's kind of interesting for both. But great career, wonderful, but I would not count him on the list.
Yeah, I think his post SNL career was just a longer version of his SNL career. He had some, like you said, he was a Weekend Update anchor for a little bit during his short stint on SNL, but never really one of the main players. And outside of that, great character stuff, Caddyshack and things like that. But again, never big star. So we're going to skip by him.
I mean, it's very similar to Jim Belushi. He's got the famous brother, and yet he wasn't a complete spare.
No. Right. And I think that that Brian Doyle is beyond just funny. I mean, the guy's a good, serious actor.
Yeah, he's always good.
I've
He's
seen
always
him in
good.
some things that I just thought, wow, I did not expect that out of him. And played it straight up, and it was pretty good.
I was a fan of the tents in Vacation when he was renting the tents to him.
And
If you can do that whole thing while spitting watermelon seeds into your hand, that's talent.
And I mean, the whole bit of the boss in Caddyshack where he's, reaming out what does that sign say? No fighting.
What's that sign say? No bare feet. What's that sign say? No fighting. What's it mean? No fighting. You owe me one gumball machine. What's that candy wrapper doing there? Don't you see it? Well, pick it up!
All right, so that's a no on Brian Doyle Murray. Rachel Dratch.
Not enough outside of SNL.
Yeah, nothing outside.
No.
Debbie
Okay.
Downer.
Ever since they found mad cow disease in the U.S., I'm not taking any chances. It can live in your body for years before it ravages your brain.
Good character on SNL, not much outside.
Doesn't she do commercials mostly now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And guest spots on series, but nothing. She's not a
Well,
different character.
usually Amy Poehler and or Tina Fey, whenever they have any of those chick type movies, they usually include
She'll
her
be
in
in
there. And,
Rerun, yeah.
All right, Robin Duke.
Not familiar.
Nope. Nora Dunn.
Not enough outside of SNL.
Yeah, nothing outside I can remember.
Really,
All
she's
right.
most notable because she was the
Boycott.
one that grandstanded
Yeah.
and refused to do the show when Andrew Dice Clay hosted.
Little boy Blue, he needed the money. Oh, you're unbelievable.
Her and Sinead O'Connor.
Well, she got the career that she deserved then. Christine Ebersol.
That sounds like nepotism.
That's
Not familiar.
nepotism.
No,
One
no
season.
relation because her last name is spelled differently. You would recognize her if you saw her because she's been in a ton of stuff as kind of like a side actor, but she's not big enough.
Yeah. Well, it was one season on SNL. Dean Edwards.
Not familiar.
Oh,
Abby Elliott.
Chris Elliott's
Chris
daughter.
Elliott's daughter.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Speaking of Chris Elliott.
Yes.
yes.
You know what?
Oh,
Well,
wait.
I don't know. His SNL.
His SNL career ain't that great.
This pains me more than anything I'll ever do on How Many because Chris Elliott is like my comedy hero.
One
but I will
season
not-
on SNL.
I will not count him because he was spare on SNL.
If we could swap his SNL career with his Letterman career,
Oh my God!
then
yeah.
he would
Great,
count.
because he was
Yes.
wonderful with Letterman. Yes.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm a big fan of his stuff outside of it, but one season. Here's one. Jimmy Fallon.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say yes.
Yeah.
He had
yeah.
a couple of good movies outside of SNL, and then
Well, and
obviously
then his
hosting
show.
Tonight Show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe best known for the fact that he just couldn't keep a straight face in most of the bits.
Always treat the customers with. Makes no sense, really.
But that was funny.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was.
Siobhan Fallon.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of her.
91, 92, one season. Here's an easy one. Chris Farley.
I wish you could just shut your big yapper.
Yes.
Friday.
Yes.
Yes.
Here's another easy one. Will Ferrell.
Your phone is ringing. La di da do, da di da do do.
Yes.
One probably
Which is
top
amazing to
five.
think that he was on Saturday Night Live.
Again, dude, with the top five.
But I would say top five on the both list. Like as far as people who were really good in both.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but the others that we named earlier were all good on both too. So
Definitely top 10, though.
yeah, definitely top 10. Okay, Tina Fey.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
I can see Russia from my house.
I can see Russia from my house.
Although Junior Miller would strongly disagree. He
Yeah, he
hates
did.
her.
Yeah.
He's got an axe to grind for some reason.
Yeah, but in addition to
Like
the
the
movies,
female
30
comedian.
Rock, I mean, it's hard to argue.
Chloe Feynman.
Not familiar.
Feynman, she's in the current cast.
This is a pretty good one. Will Forte.
Ooh, that one's interesting.
Yeah.
Yes to his SNL, but for the movies, the
what's
MacGruber
outside?
movie.
He was also Last Man on Earth, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I don't think it was a good TV series, but it certainly, I mean, it lasted a couple of years, right?
It started off really, really good, but the more people they added, the worse it got.
Yeah, I thought the more people they brought into the Last Man on Earth, the less funny it got.
Yep.
Okay.
It was very funny when it was just him. It was still very funny when it was just him and the one girl. When they added the second girl, it was started to get a little bit wobbly.
Madman.
And every person after that, it just got worse. Okay. But we said yes on Will Forte. He did do enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
so.
so. Yeah, I think so.
Al Franken. I don't think we're counting his political.
Yeah, I was going to say,
That
do
it's
you kind
laughable.
of.
No, and I don't think he did anything.
They had the Stuart Smalley movie, but I don't know
No.
if that did
That was
that
awful.
business.
Terrible.
No.
He wrote
No.
a good book.
No Al Franken. Heidi Gardner.
Nope.
No.
Here's a pretty good one. Janine Garofalo.
Ooh.
No. She was
I
like
don't think she did
Yeah.
enough in
She was
Saturday Night
only on the
Live.
one season, and she was terrible. Now, if you counted the Ben Stiller
Yeah, I
show,
was gonna say if
Yeah.
you could swap out
If
the
you
Ben
said
Stiller
Ben
show.
Stiller show, it'd still be a no.
Yeah,
Nah,
I
she was good in
I
that.
remember her on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, she was on that same season as Chris Elliott and Lenny, Michael McKean.
Anna Gasteyer.
No,
No.
Gilbert Gottfried.
I don't remember him on
I don't
SNL.
remember on Saturday Night Live.
He was
no.
he was
One
the
season.
he was the season in 1980, the first year after Lorne Michaels, the worst year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did he have the annoying voice even back then?
Yeah, that was his bit.
Still his bit.
Him and Bobcat Goldthwait.
All right, we said no to Gilbert Gottfried. Next up,
Yeah.
Mary Gross.
No.
No.
Here's a good one, but one season on SNL, Christopher Guest.
Ooh.
And on SNL, he was doing like Weekend Update stuff, right?
No, he did a bit with Billy Crystal where they would be like, "Oh, I hate when that happens." Like, "Oh,
Yeah,
you ever
they were like
jab a spike in your head?"
The other day, I took one of them,
Meat thermometers?
yeah. And I just shoved it into my ear, you know, as far as it could go, you know. But then I took one of them,
Orpine hammers.
right, and just whacked it a few times right in there, you
Boy,
know.
that was smart.
I know, I hate when that happens.
No, I wouldn't count him.
I
It's
mean-
like Martin Short was only on 1 year, but he did a lot of stuff.
Right.
Christopher Guest didn't do very much.
So no on Christopher Guest.
That hurts, but yeah.
I happen to love this one, and it would be a big yes for me, but it's still early for the off SNL stuff. Bill Hader.
Yeah, first off, he's really good in Saturday Night Live. The couple of things I've seen him in, he's pretty good.
Barry is
Yeah, Barry's great.
Barry is
Barry.
great.
Yes.
And he's
And
been
he's-
in some movies.
Yeah, he's been in enough good movies.
Trainwreck.
Trainwreck, yeah.
Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, I thought he was good in that. So yeah, I would say yay.
Okay, so great off SNL. Anthony Michael Hall.
His SNL career was spare.
So
Yeah.
spare.
I
Very
would
spare.
Oh, didn't he guess
But
on
he was
SNL?
like 17. How would you like to have been 17 and be on SNL?
But that's the thing, and this is what we had talked about earlier. Some people are on SNL. They leave there and they go become stars or they go
Yeah.
fail or whatever they're going to do. Some people do things and then they go on SNL. That was him. He had already done big things. And then
Yeah.
he went on to SNL and it was terrible. It just was a bad fit. And his career wasn't very good after that for a while. It took a while
That's
to
right.
bounce back.
Yeah.
Although he was solid and Freddie Got Fingered.
What's
He
the
was in
song?
that?
What's the,
Yeah,
what's the,
he was the guy that was running the comic publishing company that Tom Green was trying to sell his comics to.
well, and he was solid in Edward Scissorhands, but you know.
Yeah, he was the bully.
Yes.
Yeah,
Dead
I
Zone.
like Dead Zone.
I
that
did
was
like
that,
that song a
that
lot.
was what brought him back.
It was one of those things that he came back, he played a completely different character than anything he'd ever played because he looked so radically different than what
He
everybody
really
remembered him
does.
being.
Kind of beefed up. Yeah.
Brad Hall.
Married to V.
Yeah, I was gonna say married to Julia Louis-Dreyfus, but
Yeah, that's his big success right there.
but he didn't
He
do
was
anything.
also he was the Weekend Update anchor as well, but that's all he did.
I mean, I think he's got his success now as a writer for other shows. On Saturday Night Live, I can only remember just a little bit being on there. So
Thumbs down on Brad Hall. Rich Hall.
Sniglets.
I'm Rich Hall. You know, ever since we asked you to start sending in your sniglets, we've been literally swamped. Snorfing is that little game that waitresses love to play, of waiting until your mouth is full of food before coming up to you and saying,
So, is everything all right?
"Keep those sniglets coming."
Yeah, man, this is tough because it was a very short period of time, but he was massive on both. But short.
What did he do outside of Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
Not necessarily the news.
The Sniglet books were massive. Those were around everywhere for like 2 years.
But I would say no. I'd give him a thumbs down.
Yeah.
He's a one hit wonder. Sniglets was all he ever did.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Daryl Hammond.
Yes.
Boy, he was good as Al Gore, wasn't he?
Yeah, but
Well,
I don't know that
really
his movies or anything outside of SNL was that great.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I
Although
liked
he's
him on
back.
SNL, but
I think he's back at SNL, isn't he?
he does the
Right.
announcement.
He's showrunner. Yeah, that's what it is. Announcement. Didn't really get a chance. Phil Hartman.
I would say yes. He did enough
Yeah.
outside of SNL.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
I'm gonna mute
Jingle All
him.
the Way. That's enough as far as I'm concerned.
That was pretty great.
He was brilliant in Jingle All the Way.
Yeah.
And in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
And all the album covers that he did artwork
That's
for.
right. America. He did their album cover.
I do quote him being Sinatra. My money's on the money's on the table. I'm true with you. I loved him as Sinatra.
This crap with MTV, with the nudity and all. What is this crap? Sinbad
Sinbad O'Connor. What gives, cue ball? I'm looking at you. I'm thinking 14 in the side pocket.
Jan Hooks.
Yes.
Not enough outside of SNL.
Yeah, I was going to
Not
say.
outside, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know what they she did outside.
She was also in
Designing
Pee-wee's
women.
Big Adventure. There's no basement at the Alamo.
There's no basement at the Alamo.
That's
Yeah.
what I know her from. That right there. That's like the big thing.
She was on Designing Women as well, but that's about it.
That's true. She
Yeah.
replaced.
But yeah, she was part of the second casting.
Yeah.
I want to say she replaced Delta Burke, maybe.
Yeah.
That's a big
That's-
dress to fill.
Yeah, that's a close one, but I'm going to say no.
But in her first and 10 days, solid.
Who, Delta Burke?
Yeah.
Off top. Next up, Yvonne Hudson. One season on SNL.
Nope.
Next up, Melanie Hutzel.
Not familiar.
Not familiar.
Me either. Here's a pretty good one, at least on SNL and maybe off it. Victoria Jackson.
Yes. I would say yes to both because she was good in UHF. In that movie she was in with Leah Thompson.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought she was pretty good in that.
Casual sex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
casual sex.
And she had parts in a lot of different movies. She was successful out there, and I would say her face is recognizable to most.
The voice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She had the same voice as the girl that gets shot up with the Windex.
The
in
Windex,
The
yeah.
Man with
I
Two
don't
Brains.
mind.
I don't mind.
I can't inject you with window cleaner.
She's on the bubble for me on that one. I would say either way.
I'm a yes.
Yeses.
I'm going to vote yes.
We got 3 yeses, so we're in.
Yeah, okay.
All right, Leslie Jones.
Outside of the Ghostbusters chick version, I don't think she's been in any other movies, right?
I disagree. I think she has been in some stuff.
Yeah, she's been in some. She's huge in stand-up as well.
And she's just getting going, too. Like, her career is far from over. She
Yeah.
just left SNL last year. Yeah, she was in Masterminds, which has some really funny stuff in it. She's in the new Coming to America movie that's coming out.
I have drifted away from watching Saturday Night Live on a regular basis. What was the character she played in Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, guys, help Joseph.
She didn't really have a major character. She would do like editorials on Weekend Update and stuff
Yeah,
like that. But
that's mainly
Well-
what she would do.
No, they used her in other stuff, too, because she's 6 feet tall.
Yeah, she's huge.
So, like, anytime The Rock was on there, she would be one of the people that would do stuff with him because she's a big woman.
I'm gonna say thumbs down.
Yeah, I'm going to say no.
Yeah,
gonna
it's like
say no, too.
pending.
Yeah.
Gary made a good point. She's probably going to end up being a yes, but not right now.
Okay, I'm surprised by that one because I think she's great. Next up, Colin Jost.
No.
No.
Current
Although
cast
he gets
hasn't done
bonus-
anything else.
He gets bonus points for rooting around ScarJo.
Yeah, he's having at it with Black Widow.
Yeah, that's almost enough to get him the X. Next up, Chris Kattan.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think it's a no-brainer. You got to be kidding me.
I mean, he didn't do as much outside of SNL.
I disagree. I mean, Night at the Roxbury, there was...
That was awful, though.
Oh, come on. That is so good.
Terrible movie.
It is exactly what it was supposed to be. It's a takeoff of an SNL bit.
But it's a
So were the Coneheads.
That
And
That
Corky
does-
Romano.
So were the Coneheads.
Corky Romano is solid, but I don't know that it's enough.
Yeah, there wasn't much outside other than those two I can think of.
He played Bob in the middle for 56 episodes, so that's pretty decent. A couple episodes of How I Met Your Mother. I didn't watch the middle, but that's a pretty strong thought.
To me, he's kind of in the Jim Brewer category. You know, he was good on Saturday Night Live, and he's done some stuff outside. But
Undercover Brother, Ridiculous Six.
Undercover Brother, I forgot about.
I'm going to vote yes.
I'm going to vote no.
Yeah, I'm going to say no.
5 years on the Middle, that didn't do anything.
If he headlined the middle, then maybe. But-
Yeah, like the janitor.
I don't remember him on the middle.
So, Axe, I hear you play football? Yeah. I used to play a little ball myself when I was your age. Those days, they called it foosball. Wrist used to swell up something awful.
All right. Well, that's a little surprising. No more Chris Kattan. Poor little Chris Kattan. Tim Kaczynski.
Kazurinsky.
No, not familiar.
No, don't know him.
No, you know who he is, though. Seriously. He had good SNL bits.
He had a genius bit, yeah.
There are many forms of amputation, but there are some amputations I'm sure you're not familiar with. For instance, cutting off an old man's arm is known as gramputation. And having a Gomer Pyle removed is shazamputation. Shooting a moon against a car window in winter could lead to pressed hamputation.
Gary, you know what else he did? Remember in Curb, the F-Hugh.
Yes.
That was him.
I know who he is. Laura Keitlinger.
No.
All right, next up, Taron Killam.
No. Current cast. Hasn't done anything else.
This one's probably pretty easy. Oh, maybe it's not. Got to do something on SNL. David Koechner.
Ooh, Packard.
What has two thumbs and likes to bone your mom? This guy!
Yeah.
He did have one really good SNL character, but that's not enough to count.
Yeah, I don't remember him on SNL, so I would say no.
When I first saw his name, I was like, oh, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
and then I
because
thought,
he's
wait.
greatness on Anchorman.
He's also greatness on the Goldbergs. He's a Cowboys fan on the Goldbergs.
I'll let Laney see Barry if you admit the Cowboys are America's team.
Cowboys.
What's that?
Cowboy.
Yes. Gary Kroger.
No. The inventor of the grocery store?
Yes. Ruger.
Oh, Freddy's brother.
K-Uger.
So that's a no. Next up, single season, Matthew Lawrence.
Nope.
No.
All right. She won't make it because of her work on SNL, but everything outside of it for sure. Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Oh.
Yeah.
Boy.
Not a strong enough SNL career, but greatness outside of it.
It's so hurtful.
You could make the argument she is one of the most successful post-Saturday Night Live people at all times. Because you figure all the different sitcoms she's done, you know, Seinfeld, Veep, and then even the Julia.
New Adventures of Old Christine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
she's won a billion Emmys.
Yeah.
Right.
And she was worth $1 billion before she started.
Exactly.
That's right. She was rich to begin with.
Yeah. Dad and grandfather are both stupid rich.
So was
Did
she
not know that. Where
wasted
from?
on Saturday Night Live then? I mean, do you think that, let's say the writing was better at the time, do you think that she would have shined?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if she has the right kind of shtick for SNL.
Part of it was she was really, really young. She was just got out of college. She was like 21.
And that was a bumpy time at SNL. It was 82.
Yeah,
85.
it was.
She was there for 3 years, but it wasn't good.
Yeah.
But if she had stuck around for just a little bit longer, though.
Yeah, exactly.
85, 86, 87, it started really getting good. She just missed it.
Yeah, and she was part of what was the rich family she was a part of?
You mean in real life?
Like in real life?
Her own?
No, but I mean, she was already rich before.
Yeah.
Because Jesse was asking.
Maybe you'll go back and listen to the show after we're done. We had that conversation already. Thanks for paying attention, Bob.
Didn't her grandmother invent liquid paper or something like that?
Her dad.
No, that was Michael Nesmith.
I'm just yanking your chain.
No, her dad and her grandfather are both shipping magnates.
Yeah, bitch! Magnets!
Oh, okay.
John Lovitz.
Yes.
Yes, come on, Junior.
What was his big movies outside of SNL?
He's in all of the SNL movies, and he's funny.
He was in that movie with Dana Carvey, Nothing But Trouble. Was that what it was? Or was it? He was in that.
With the one with Dan Aykroyd, Nothing But Trouble?
I think so.
And Demi Moore?
There was some, he's been in a lot of stuff. The Critic, that was huge.
Yeah, that was a big
exactly.
show.
Yeah.
And I do give him an exemption also because he was in Happiness.
He's also played like 20 characters in The Simpsons.
Yep.
Yeah, he's
been a character actor a ton of times and stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Hotel Transylvania movies.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
So that is the first half of this episode. In a couple weeks, we'll have the second half where we go through the rest of the Saturday Night Live cast and discuss their success. For now, thanks and keep listening. Thank you guys for listening to us. Please let us know what you think. Bob, how can they reach you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram, both at Lukewarm Tallboy and both at Ben Scoop.
Scott?
The Twitter is Scott_Matula. My Instagram, which I actually look at more, is at GS Matula.
Gary?
At Travel_Cowboy on Twitter.
Junior?
Mexican_Junior on Twitter. You can also email us at howmanypodcasts@gmail.com. You can send us a message on our YouTube channel where all of our episodes are going to be loaded. And you can also leave us a review on iTunes.
Don't we have a Twitter at How Many Podcast also?
We do. And I am at Jesse Jackson DFW. Listeners, thank you so much for listening. Please be safe. Continue to wash your hands, social distance, wear an effing mask, and we will talk to you soon.